you ready? You recording?
Yeah.
All right, so we got the crank set in. First step that I can't remember what website we used, but we found something on a website. Whether or not you trust a website or not is entirely up to you. The first step is to torque the inner bolts to 15 foot-pounds, which we did. And these are torqued to angle bolts. So it's torqued to 15 and then 80 degrees after that. So I don't have a torque to angle gauge. So I'm using my phone, the compass function, which is probably just as accurate. So it's 80 degrees plus, so we're at 300 plus 80, so we're going to take this one to 20. Click. You gotta do your math a little bit here. So 304, well that's 4 more than I just went to, so I'm going to take this one to 24. Fucking flies. 24. $334 plus 80. Ooh, that's what is that?
30 more than what you did, so 50. That'd be 354.
Here, let's maybe if we start from here, does that make sense? 270. Why is the thing moving?
That'd be 355.
Okay, 270. Why is it moving? Maybe this isn't very accurate. Pull your phone up, please.
330 plus 80 would be 50 degrees.
Okay, ready? Here we go. Okay. Did I do this one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. And if you want to get 0, I guess you could just kick the motor, just rotate the motor around. Fuck, I'm smart. Whoop.
Push it around until
There.
you find it.
There. But I heard something about the North and South Pole were flipped around, so who knows what we're doing here. Okay, where'd it go? There. Okay, let's take this one to 80. Click. Kicking it back a bit. Oh, this is good bonding. Okay.
This is for if you're not smart enough.
I'm not smart enough. Click. This is called improvising. If you haven't got the tool, you got a phone, make the tool. 3, so 20 again.
Yeah.
There we go. So now the next step is the outer studs, and that's going to be the same thing. We're going to torque to 15 foot-pound, and those ones get 53 degrees. You're going to do those ones. And here's everybody's favorite tool. The old 3-finger cam bearing honer. Just getting the glaze off. These ones we've done already. We might go back to them, but compared to here versus here, so we're reusing the rings, so I don't know. All right, so the final step to the old cylinder head rebuild is the ever important valve lap. So we went to the car wash, blasted the heads off. Riley's been lapping away for hours, days. And then he's got 2 more to go. You can see the difference. That's a 200 or what? How many miles?
Like
Kilometers? 280,000 kilometers, which is like one, 180, 200,000 mile. LS valve seat, but he's gonna make them look new because that's what he does. Greasy hands, cuts, bruises. It's all good. This is probably going to be part 2 video of Riley's LS build. Today we're going to put together the cylinder heads. Last video we kind of cleaned up the deck surfaces and all the other surfaces. So we're ready for assembly today. We lapped the valves in and cleaned all those up really nice. So today we're going to put the springs and locks and retainers and everything in. So we got this Summit kit. This is the kit that was recommended for the camshaft that we picked up. Parts list, yada yada yada. Outer spring diameter 1.3 inch, inner spring diameter at 1.8 inch installed height, 140 pounds of pressure, 380 pounds open at 1.2 inch, coil bind at 1.15 inch, and 600 thou maximum recommended valve lift, which is what Riley's camshaft has. So the important number before we start assembling is this number here, the 1.8 installed height. We want to make sure that we have basically at least that distance, because at 600 thou lift, that puts us down to 1.2 inch. And here it says we've got coil bind at 1.15, so that leaves us 50 thousandths before we get coil bind. So we're going to check that. In order to do that, we're just going to, let's do the intake first. Throw the valve in, and maybe you hold the camera for me. Throw a valve in, throw a lock on, sorry, retainer, 2 locks, pull it back without the spring obviously, like so, tight, nice and square. You know, most guys have a set of calipers, but unfortunately, you know, unless we use some sort of gauge block or whatever, it doesn't really fit in there. So I'm going to use my telescopic gauge set, and what we're going to do is put that like so. You're going to put it in. I'm going to put the narrow side towards me. Snap that open. Be as square as you can. Pull the retainer nice and tight against the locks. At a slight angle, you just lock the gauge at the bottom, and you just rotate it. Rotate it once. I haven't got enough swing where I am. Rotate it once, like so. Pull it out, and then you can use the calipers to measure. So we've got on the exhaust about 1.825 of installed height. So that gives us 70 thousandths before coil bind. So that's good. Now we'll do the same thing with the intake. Getting excited for this thing, right?
Oh yeah.
No burn-offs. Obviously we're a ways yet, but I mean, the motor should be wrapped up fairly soon. Okay, so we'll do the same thing for the intake. Relax this a little bit. Make sure that's nice and tight. Whoop. And just push that through. And what am I hitting? That wasn't a good one. Let me move this over a bit. There we go. If I can get it out now. On the intake, we've got about about the same, 1.827. So we've got no fear of coil bind with that installed height. I mean, if you were blueprinting your engine, you would probably want to check every valve. But I mean, if you just, you know, compare all the seat positions, make sure none are, you know, sunk or anything like that, I think you should be okay with just checking one intake and one exhaust. So okay, now we'll start assembling these heads.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we checked installed height. Next step was to install the new valve seals. Unfortunately, there's one different one here. That's because somebody buggered up the first one installing it. I drove it on a little too far and screwed it up. So, but anyway, thankfully, Atomic Engine just down the road from me here. He was open late tonight, so I was able to run down there. He's literally a mile away, and he threw us another couple valve seals in case I screwed another one up. So anyway, shout out to Demas at Atomic Engine. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to install the valve springs and retainers. Okay, so you want to oil up the valve stem really good. Don't have to bugger up another seal. And whoops, I grabbed the intake, but that's okay. Push that through slowly. Your springs, our new retainers, 2 locks. Put the locks on. Be nice and square. Pick. Oh, there it goes. Ready? Yep. Just like that. Installed spring. Yeah, these are considerably stiffer than the stock junkers that came out, so keep that in mind. And we're just going to repeat that 15 more times. Yep. Right. Really strong arm these springs in. So these heads are now ready to bolt on. Good job, Riley. All right, so we're picking her back up here. It's a nice, beautiful Friday afternoon. Well, Friday evening. So we're gonna torque these rods in. We slid all the pistons in and we torqued those to 15 foot-pounds. Now we're going to use our handy-dandy angle gauge, and we're going 15 pounds and then right to 60 degrees, and we'll be torqued. Let's flip that thing over. All right.
You said 60?
60, so again, pull it front to back. But let's turn the motor so we're on the right plane. For this compass deal to work, you want to have the torque wrench kind of 90 degrees to the ground. I think you want to go a little more, right? Turn it this way. A little more? Okay, about there. Okay. So preload it.
154 to 60.
We're gonna figure out where our degrees are, add 60 to that, and go down the row, and we'll be torqued. Right, so the bottom end's all torqued and tight, ready to go. Riley's just putting some schmoo on the old cam lobes. We'll get that slid in and get the timing set on. Torque the timing gear down. Look at that professional layout. We'll report back when we're putting it in. We also have the new cam retaining plate here. It's Summit 150106, something like 20 bucks or whatever, but we've learned every time you take one of these motors apart that this seal gets to sit on the negative side of these plates sometime and bleed off some oil pressure. So comes with hardware all with thread locker already on it. So we're gonna put that in place and torque that down. I think it's 15 foot-pound or something like that. And then we'll be ready to put the timing gear on. All right, so that cam plate is torqued on behind that timing set. And we've got the timing gear torqued down to 26 foot-pounds. And that's a new LS2 chain with the ever-famous timing chain slop, but apparently that's normal. It's far better than the stock one that came off there. And the next thing is to slide the lifters in. But before we put those in, we're just gonna put them in the glass jar here and fill it up with oil and let those sit for 24 hours or so. Some guys say they do that, some guys say don't do that, but we're gonna do it. Because we're crazy. So yeah, that'll probably be it for today's little ensemble. And then next will be, what's next, Riley? Lifters in. And then lifters and lifter trays in. And then we can bolt those fancy cylinder heads down. And we almost got ourselves a motor. Be ready for paint soon. I'll have to check. We may need to order some different length push rods depending on how that checks out. But yeah, until we get back at it next time, we'll tune in then.
Check you later.